Welcome, everybody, to Broadcast Team Alpha, where we bring you cutting edge conversation while exploring the quantum possibilities. Welcome, everybody, to Broadcast Team Alpha, we're going to have where tonight. We bring you cutting edge we get conversation while exploring our beautiful guest. As always, I just want to thank you for being here. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for being in the chat room. Thank you for when you hit the super chat function. And apparently that happened last week and I didn't know about it. So thank you so much. We are so grateful. You know, this has been a labor of love for Augie and I. So when we receive contributions from you, it lifts, the financial load a little bit off of us. And that's a nice thing during these times. So, I don't know if any of you got to see us on the Portal to Ascension, the 2-day conference that just happened. If you didn't, you can still go to portaltoascension.com. It might be .org, and you can sign up. It is .org. You can sign up and you can watch the replays as many times as you like. There have been some powerful presentations and conversations that happened there today. So we don't want to leave you out. So I wanted to tell you about that. So Augie, please tell us about our lovely guest.
Yes. It's been a couple of really intense days here and it was so enjoyable. But I want to say something about our guest here. I found out about her probably 2 weeks ago when Mac told me about her, and I went and investigated, and it sounded really interesting. So I knew right there and then that she needed to be a guest on the Broadcast Team Alpha show. So we have Danika Darley, and I hope I said that last name is Darley. I think I got it right. If I didn't, please just slap me around. That's okay. And she is a Vedic astrologer. And we're going to talk about that and how that compares to other maybe forms of astrology. When it comes to astrology, it is way above my pay grade. I really don't know much about it. But I think we're going to have an education this time because she says she's certified as an astrologer, but she likes to think of herself as a student. And I think that is a phrase that somebody that is really honest about it, because we know we are students of life and we are students of everything we do until the day that we don't need to study anymore, which that's probably many, many years in the future. So, yeah. And I want to welcome Danika to the show so we can get to talk about this.
Yes, welcome.
Hello. Hi, you guys.
It's so good to hear you.
Yes, I just want to say thank you for having me, and it's a privilege and an honor to connect with you. And should I just go ahead?
Yeah, do we have a little bit feedback?
I know a little bit about Vedic astrology, and Augie knows nothing. So start from the beginning and let's hear about the magic that you create.
Okay. So first of all, I believe that here in the West, pop culture, a lot of people, pick up the newspaper and they read their sun sign, right? They think of their astrology sign. If I ever mention astrology, people say, oh, I'm an Aries or I'm a Leo. They're referring to the placement of their sun in the Western style astrology, which I don't call either correct or incorrect. I just call them different ways of understanding. So what I wanted to do first was differentiate between Western astrology and Vedic astrology. So Western astrology goes with the precession of the equinox around March 22nd. When the days are even, where the sun is, that's where the Aries zodiac starts in Western astrology. Now, in Vedic astrology, it's actually astronomically correct. So what's in the sky, where the planets are in the sky, is how the zodiac unfolds. So it's actually like quite a few degrees difference. And I think Western astrology is more of an idea, and Vedic astrology is actually astronomically correct. So there's that. And so yeah.
I think so. What you just said makes sense actually, because the Western astrology probably have its origin somewhere in time, but the Veda was written first somewhere. I don't know about the dates, but 9 to 12,000 years ago. So that may have an earlier history than Western astrology, which probably brings it closer to the source. Could there be something to that?
Yes, and I think that it's interesting. Western astrology, they both have the 12 zodiacs, starting with Aries, ending with Pisces. And Western astrology, I feel like, is more of like a vague explanation, but Vedic astrology actually like holds the same type of energy within the zodiac. You know what I mean? So I feel like they're very connected and accurate. So I believe that both are very divinely inspired. But yes, I would definitely agree that Vedic astrology is definitely older.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you think about the old calendars, the Vedic calendar back in those days, they was way before both the Julianic and the Gregorian calendar, where they actually shifted in the Gregorian calendar, no, the Julianic calendar, I think it is, where there's about 7 days missing time in the calendar that they just made up. So it may not be as accurate because of that either.
Yeah, I've heard before that once upon a time the Western astrology calendar was accurate to the astronomy, but it no longer is, and that could be due to, I don't know, shift of the Earth's axis over time. I'm not sure, but yeah, these technical things, the deeper you go, the more details you find, and it's just like never ending.
Mm-hmm.
Does the Vedic astrology take into like those qualities that we all have, like Kapha, Pitta?
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
And I believe what you're talking about is linked with Ayurveda. Kapha, Pitta, yes, those those can be connected. Excuse me.
Thank you, Margaret. Margaret gave us a super chat. Woohoo! Thank you, Margaret. So sweet. Thank you. Aw.
Congratulations. So yes, Vedic astrology, yes, it goes very deep into physical attributes, health, the body, the personality, possible situations throughout life that you'll experience. So before I get into what I wanted to talk about with the yogas and like getting more into predictions, I just wanted to say that Vedic astrology is kind of a recent term that's been coined to help differentiate between Western and Vedic, I believe. But the real word for the type of astrology that I study is Jyotish, which means the science of light. Now, I'm going to be using a lot of Sanskrit terms, and I'll do my best to explain them so that I don't, lose the viewers who may not be familiar, who may be beginners at the study of Vedic astrology or just hearing about it for the first time. I'm going to try and keep it understandable.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I just, I had to actually do some research, so I wanted to make sure I get my facts right, and I'm going to do my best. But so I just wanted to talk about the forefathers of Vedic astrology, Sage Brigu, and Sage Parashara. So Vedic astrology came from sages in the Brahmin caste. And India's Brahmin caste system is basically like priests, sadhus, holy men. So came from sages, and it was passed down. And I also wanted to talk about nakshatras. Nakshatras are a key part of Vedic astrology. So there's 27 nakshatras, and my teacher says he likes to think of them as the wheels under a truck bed. So we still have the Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. But beneath it are 27 smaller constellations. It's about 2.5 constellations per zodiac. Okay, are you guys still with me?
Mm-hmm, it's good.
Okay. I'm trying.
Okay. Okay. So we see 7 nakshatras beneath the 12 zodiac. Okay. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the ascendant or the rising sign.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's basically, the idea is that, okay, so you know how the sun rises in the east and sets in the west? Well, so does the zodiac. All day long, the zodiac's moving. We just can't always see it because the sun's so bright, right? So at night, we see it moving. And if you pay close attention, you'll notice it shifting throughout the night. It just keeps on rising and setting. So the sign that was rising in the east at your time of birth, whether it was day or night, is your ascendant or your rising sign. So it was like the sun rising, and that nakshatra in particular is kind of like a map of your life. It's the story that you're going to live out. The main theme. Mm-hmm. Now, the nakshatras aren't just constellations. There's stories that are connected with them. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. The Vedanga Jyotisha was 600-700 years before Common Era. So this was the first text, the first Veda. Now, the Veda is a body of text. It's numerous books. But the Vedanga Jyotisha was the first book to actually document the stories of the nakshatras. Now, there's 108 stories that go with the 27 nakshatras. So yeah, the stories are connected with them. Let's see, where was I going with that?
So when you look at the connections that you made there, are they similar or accurate for all people, or are they also individual energies that affect, so that maybe a constellation for one person actually is different than from another person?
That's a really good question. Appreciate that, because I was getting a little bit like, I didn't know where to go next, and that's a great question. So yes,
that's the kind of question. That's the kind of question that gets from a guy that knows nothing.
So yes, we are all affected by all 27 nakshatras, but depending on what planets we have in each nakshatra will give us more of an intensified effect. Will play the story out a little bit more of a theme to the life. And also different planets manifest differently within nakshatras. Some planets do well in certain nakshatras, some planets not so well. So I think that's a valuable lesson for all of us. No one's going to have the perfect birth chart. Sometimes we have difficult placements. And so I think that's one of the very valuable things about learning astrology and learning your own chart and learning more about yourself, is that you can see problem areas that you need to work on and that you need to heal from and work through.
Mm-hmm. So then I am deducting from that there may be some differences in it from different person, even though the chart may look the same, but a person may have a different effect from it than another person, possibly. Mm-hmm. Unless of course there are within the chart, there may be major influences and minor influences and maybe minute influences from different things in the sky. So maybe we're
Mhm.
looking for the whole big picture. You're looking at the major and the minor, and maybe you forgot some, or we don't look at some of the minute influences that also, for some people, can maybe have a major effect. I'm just thinking loud here. I don't know.
Mhm.
What do you think?
Yes. Also, our social conditions and the types of communities and culture that we grow up in will have different effects. You know, like someone having,
Yep.
living in a third world country may manifest certain planet with the same nakshatra much differently, though still play out the theme in one way or another. Also, if you take say a monk, he's sitting in a convent meditating all day, he's going to manifest the energy differently. But yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
Our social situation has a lot to do that may override some of the influences of maybe the cosmos.
Mm-hmm. And also, yes, also meditation can definitely change the effect of the birth chart.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Interesting. Yeah.
How does that happen? Is that because you kind of overcome some of the questionable characteristics associated with the sign, or?
Yep, definitely.
Nice.
And also the transits. So, so the birth chart is like a snapshot of the sky at your birth. And so as the planets transit all at different speeds, different rates, like the moon takes about almost 28 days to transit the entire calendar. And it'll give a different effect when it goes over your birth planet. There's just it's such a broad thing to explain astrology. Like it's pretty mind blowing. So yeah, we have the transits, and we have so what I wanted to get into was, let's see, I'm wondering if I should start from, maybe get into predictions, how we make predictions.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that sounds good.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to throw a little bit of Sanskrit at you guys, but I'm going to do my best to try and make it clear. So the way that we practice, it's like law or medicine. It's a practice, right? So the way that we practice predictions is by yogas and dashas. Now, yoga means a planetary placement, and dasha means, so we have time periods in our life, planetary time periods that run in chronological order. And we have 3 different time periods. It's like a Mahadasha is the longest time period, anywhere from, I believe, 7 to 16 years, 7 to 19 years, I believe, certain planets run. And then below them are shorter time periods of different planets that also run in chronological order. Now, every living being will run through different dashas. But so let's say we have a 2 planetary conjunction in a certain house. Let me see if I should use I've prepared a little board so I can try and explain it. This is the chart that I study, by the way. It's called the South Indian. Yes, it's very different from the typical Western chart, which I'm sure you're all very familiar with. The circle, the wheel. Okay, so let's see. You guys, we do have conjunctions. So let's just say, okay. I don't know if I'm going to need this chart for this explanation, but a yoga, so like a dasha, like a time period. There's just so much to explain. I'm trying to keep it together. I don't even know. So many things, I don't even know where to start. Okay, so like a conjunction is a yoga. So let's say for a Virgo ascendant, I'm going to put 6, 8, 9, 10. Oh, and by the way, okay, so we count the zodiac counterclockwise, and it rotates from east to west, right? So we're just going to say east and west, but we count this way. It's still 12 houses. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But for this example, we're going to do a Virgo ascendant. So I have a 6 here for the 6th house. A Virgo's the original 6th house. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Are you guys still with me?
Yeah.
Can't quite see that, but we get it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So this is a Virgo ascendant.
It's good.
Okay. So let's say that, okay, so yogas, before I go on, I just want to say that we can have like malefic yogas, more difficult. Okay, so yogas are like probable situations, probable karmas. And so it's not always it's going to unfold on a scale. You know what I mean? Like career success, or one of the yogas I wanted to talk about, a difficult one, is success after someone else's losses. And these are translations of Sanskrit terms that I'm using. So we have malefic houses. It goes so deep, I don't even know where to start. Okay, maybe I'll start first by talking about karma. Wait, Dharma, Artha. Okay. Okay. So Dharma. Okay.
Now you're using a term there. You're saying karma. That I understand what is, but what is dharma?
Okay. So true sartha is what I'm trying to describe. It's the object of human pursuit. Dharma is righteousness, moral values, and the path that you must walk on. So one of the houses that we use to describe Dharma is the 1st house. So these are the 4 aims of a human: the Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So Dharma, yes, it's the path that we must walk on. It's doing the right thing. So the houses can be divided up into these 4 different areas. So the 1st house, we can use the 1st house and the planets that are in it and what sign is rising to find out your dharmic path. I'm going to put D. And Artha, the 2nd house, Artha is the prosperity, economic values, say like the things that you value, your bank account, the things you acquire over time. Kama is pleasure, love, desires, the 3rd house, Kama. Desires, things that you want, having fun. Okay. And Moksha is the 4th house. And that is spiritual liberation. Freedom from desires, happiness. So these are the 4 aims. And so continue. I'm getting some feedback on my phone.
Yeah.
They repeat.
Okay.
Around the zodiac. Okay. So D, counterclockwise. A, D, A, K, M, D, A, K, M. Okay. So the Dharmic houses, the 5th house, the 9th house, and the 1st house. So these are the houses that will help us to do the right thing, to they govern religion, study, higher learning, gurus, teachers. If people have prominent planets in the 1st, 5th, and 9th house, then they will be more geared toward a dharmic path.
Mm-hmm.
You guys still with me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
So,
Martha,
Danika, can I just shift gears just a little bit for a minute? Yeah. What led you to Vedic astrology instead of regular astrology?
Oh, that's a very, very good question, but we're at the bottom of the hour, so we need to run our little commercial and then come back with that when we are back on the other side. Explain why this type. That would be a good one for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Max, go ahead and tell us when we're back, because I can't see you.
I knew that there was a need because my father had a need. And if my father had a need, then how many other people have a need?
The key to Tyler's coffee is the roasting process. Because Mother Nature makes the coffee bean. We can only work with the processing.
We knew we wanted to go USDA certified organic. So we wanted to be the purest and cleanest coffee in the world. We had to source stuff from Africa, we had to source stuff from Brazil, we had to source stuff from Chile, and we put it through our proprietary Z-roasting processor. So what that really truly means to you is that the coffee doesn't have inflammatory properties in it. I'm dedicated to serving 50 million Americans that suffer from stomach-related modalities, and also the millions of other people that just deserve a great tasting cup of coffee that's healthy and safe.
You know, there are a lot of influential people. They just flat do not make major decisions unless they consult the astrology chart.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we could talk, I mean, Ronald Reagan did that, Nancy Reagan did that, and many others that we know of that they followed this. And some of the things that the decisions they made on the basis of that was very accurate and very good decisions. So there is something here that people need to know.
Yeah. But first, let's go. I'd like to go back to my original question before we went to break. And so, Danika, why Vedic over traditional Western? What inspired you to go in that direction?
From what I've heard, it's astrology that chooses you. It's not necessarily you who chooses astrology.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Yes, and I've heard that it takes 7 lifetimes to master. So
I heard that too somewhere. I don't know where I heard that. So how is an Aquarian, I say that because I am, in Vedic different than Aquarian in Western? I mean, surface value, are they kind of the same, but the deeper part different?
Yes, I would definitely say that they are both generally the same types of energy, but like I said, Nakshatras, the stories that go along with them, like one of the middle Nakshatra within Aquarius has to do with the healer of the gods. So the healer of the gods would heal the gods and sit around and listen to their stories and get the wisdom from the gods. So if you think of it, yes. And so people with Aquarius will, without a doubt, experience aliens.
Aha.
That's sure.
True. True.
Yeah.
Very
That's
true.
like an interesting go-to fact that I know and I myself have experienced.
Are you an Aquarian?
I have prominent planets in Aquarius.
I got you.
Yes.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
Nori, you bring us back when we come up.
Excuse me?
You bring us back when we come back on.
I
we're not back on.
We are on.
We are.
Tonight is such an unusual night. My God, you guys.
Yeah.
So let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Okay.
So I'm checking the audience. Yes, so I would love to hear more about Aquarius, but I don't want to hog your focus.
Well, what I can tell, something that's interesting, that anyone can find out, within a few minutes on their phone, is that your moon in your chart and your south node of the moon, or your K2, can tell a lot more about you than your sun sign, which they all do. But the one that will describe you most is your K2 and your moon.
Interesting.
So,
interesting.
Yeah.
And then how does the rising sign fit in there?
The rising sign, so like I said, the rising sign is the map, and it can help you determine different planetary placements and conjunctions, the probable karmas that you will experience in your life. So you need an accurate time of birth in order to know your rising sign, because like I said, the zodiac is constantly shifting. Yes. And if you don't have an accurate time of birth, then you can just do a simple where your planets are placed. That can give you a good idea too. But when you have the accurate time, you can get into a lot more detail.
It's amazing. How accurate?
Go ahead.
How accurate?
Oh. We couldn't hear the last part. We lost Nori.
All right. So yeah, I believe she was going to say how accurate, something about the accuracy. And yes, so it actually, like down to the very minute, can change divisional charts. In astrology, you don't just have a birth chart, you have many charts that are divided, like each house. It's like putting a microscope on each house. So you can look into the different areas of your life at a much deeper level. So the first house, descendant, is yourself and your body. The second one, the different houses stand for different things, and they're different areas of your life that everyone will deal with and go through. We can see from career, we can see recognition, achievements, rewards. We can see spirituality. We can see home and property you may acquire.
Mm-hmm. And I know too that there is a lot of prominent people in this world, both in politics and in business. They totally govern their life after astrology, like Ronald Reagan did. I did it right in the White House. They had people come in and they were studying the astrologist chart about different situations that they had to make decisions on. And I suppose some of that worked out pretty good. And there's a saying out there also, millionaires, they don't care about astrology, but billionaires do. Have you heard that one?
No, I haven't, but it makes sense.
It does make sense. I mean, there are certain days that you shouldn't sign contracts. I mean, according to the planetary alignment, or you shouldn't get your hair cut, right? I mean, seriously, important stuff.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. Yeah, it goes really deep. I think I got a little bit too deep.
And you need to know the place of birth, right? The location that changes things.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just see what.
Yes, because the ascendant is according to where you were at on the earth. Depends on where the sign was rising. The horizon. Mm-hmm. The horizon is the ascendant. basically.
Oh, okay. Where did you study, or did you study through somebody specific, or is it a school? Excuse me, is it a school or?
Yes, it's an academy, an online course
Nice.
called Maga Vedic Academy.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
How long have you been practicing?
It's been about 2 years now.
Good. Do you love it?
Mhm. I love it. I
You
love
do?
it so much. Yes, I'm so glad to be able to be here talking about it. I'm humbled.
What's the best
Yeah.
part of it for you?
The best part of it, I would have to say, is navigating my life.
Good
Yes,
answer. Yeah,
situation, day-to-day situations.
that's
Um,
amazing.
Yes. So yeah, that actually is a perfect segue into the sadhanas,
Mm.
which are spiritual practices.
Ah,
And so students of Vedic astrology, it's said that knowledge comes after devotion. So we're given yantras to meditate on, which is like mandalas, like the Buddhist mandalas, the designs.
mhm.
So
Yes.
there's yantras for different planets and mantras as well. So
Beautiful.
yes, so working on these sadhanas will help you to connect with the planets and to better understand this divine science.
A divine science. I like that.
Mhm.
I like
Do you
that.
do you meditate?
I do.
That's kind of a
I do.
must, isn't it?
Yes.
So Nancy said that it seems like this is your calling. That's in the chat room, Nancy. And
Thank
somebody
you.
said 2 years. Wow, it sounds like she's a true master. It's lovely. One of the
Aw.
questions is Vedic past life as well? Does it take into consideration that?
Yes, that's a good question. We actually in the D60 divisional chart, which is the 12th house, one of the moksha houses under a
Mhm.
microscope, it actually shows past, present, and future lives.
Wow.
Yes.
Very
So,
comprehensive. Yeah,
yes,
that's awesome.
it
So
goes very deep. Yeah.
how can people find you? Do you have an email or a website, or how people can reach
I
you?
do. I have an email. I have a feeling I'm going to need a website soon.
Yes, I think so too.
Yeah, I do have an email. I have a YouTube channel. I have an Instagram,
What's your
Facebook.
YouTube and Instagram? Let's get those out there for everybody.
My YouTube channel is Danika Loves You. And I'm not only discussing astrology, but I'm having just talking about mysticism and various things like that, spirituality, meditation, things like that. And my Instagram is danika.darley.9.
Perfect. Wonderful. Wonderful.
I have
So
talked to people that they're practitioners, and it almost sounds to me like to them it could almost be a spiritual practice.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to that? Could this develop into something like that?
Oh, most definitely. So yeah, the yantras and the mantras, it's actually called graha sadhana. Now, graha means planet in Sanskrit, sadhana, spiritual practice. So a planetary spiritual practice is required to get a deeper understanding. You must have devotion, and then you get understanding.
I love that.
So the grahas, yes, they're a divine energy, and the nakshatras, they're actual beings which can be connected with on certain transits, given having done the proper sadhanas, say like on a full moon in a certain transit.
That's beautiful. So Augie's a Pisces. What can you tell us about him?
What can we say about a Pisces?
Before you go there, I gotta tell you, I am in the United States now, but I was not born here. I was born in Northern Europe. Will that affect the chart anything?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay.
Yes. So, like I said, depending on where you are on the planet, say like the rising sign is different where you guys are than where I am in the United States. It's different. It's probably a completely different nakshatra. So for me, I like to think of it as the nakshatra rising. So these nakshatra beings basically are manifesting their energy into the human experience so that the human can come to know itself. So it's like a portal. When it's taking your first breath of life, the nakshatra is coming through and manifesting itself.
Beautiful.
Okay, so being a Piscean, then what is specifically or maybe generally more prevalent by those people?
Pisces are definitely into spirituality or religion or both. They like to dwell in the deepest waters. The middle nakshatra in Pisces is called Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra, and it's ruled by Adirbhanya, which is a deep sea serpent. Think of it like the sea, like Nessie the sea monster, which rules the deepest waters of spirituality. So Pisces like to go very deep into this.
Yeah.
True. Very true.
Well, don't just dwell on me here. What about Nori?
Aquarius? Well, I feel like Aquarius, so they gain the spirituality, but then see, like the situation that we're in right now is very Aquarian, because we're drawing from the spirit world, and we're here together, we're huddled up, and we're saying, okay, what can we do now? How can we use the knowledge we've gained to help those around us, to help the spiritual community? So Aquarians like to gather and to spread information. So yeah, we're all being very Aquarian at the moment.
Well, we're in the age of Aquarius, right?
Well, that is debatable.
It is debatable. Intuitively, do you think we are?
I think very much so. Very much so. Some people say, different ages, like Westerners and Easterners have different ideas, but I think that both energies are correct. Both of what they're saying, I see truth in both of it.
That's a very good practitioner, that you can see truth in both. That's wonderful. Yeah. How do you have to do a chart and like have all these printouts for if a person comes to you? How does it work?
So if they come to me, hopefully with an accurate birth time, we can get much more specific. But if they don't have an accurate time, then I just put noon, and then I can find out what planets are in what nakshatras, and I can also get divisional charts. So your birth charts, your different charts of different houses they're going to be completely different. But yeah, with your birth date, there's like 12 other charts. So we can go into detail on whatever it is that they may be, because people come to astrologers with questions. So whatever it is they're inquiring about, whether it be career, finance, relationship, love reading, love consultation, I can take a look. Or if it's someone specific that they're wondering about, I'm willing to look at both people's charts and see what type of energies that we're dealing with, and how the birth charts, if I overlap them, the way the energies are conspiring.
Interesting. Good word too. Very good word. So people just come to you and they say, I want you to do a chart for me or a reading for me, or what is it? Or is it both?
Well, yes, it can be both. I'm not very experienced. I mean, I've never charged before, but I have looked at many, many charts. So I'm getting better at, and you know, I like to memorize people's charts and just stay in contact with them and what's going on in their lives, watch it play out. It's really interesting. So people who do become clients will probably, hopefully be lifetime clients. You know what I mean?
That's nice. So you're not just a practitioner, you're a bit of a healer in a way.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. I love that. That's beautiful. That's nice. That's you just memorize them. That's so you're like, so let's see, today it's like that, and oh, I better call her. Is that how that goes?
I got a question. I've been sitting on this one. I just can't handle it anymore. I got to ask. Have you looked into the future of Earth and development of our society? What do you see in our future according to your astrology?
Well, I feel like and this is just going off like intuition, as the ages, like you say, age of Aquarius, as we progress through the zodiac, I feel like we get closer and closer to like the golden age. I feel like we are collectively becoming more and more intuitive, more and more telepathic, more and more open to the idea of supernatural, extraterrestrial worlds that are beyond what we see with the naked eye. So I think that by us gathering here today and setting light on it, I feel like we're just coming closer and closer and closer and closer. So I hope that, you know, we can continue to come together like we are and to become more, you know, what's the word? More connected, more emotionally connected, more empathic and helpful to one another, more environmentally conscious, you know.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah,
I think
that
it
would
can
be
happen.
one of two ways as far as becoming a better new earth or continuing to destruct.
Yeah, I'm holding the vision of the new earth.
Yeah.
With love and unity and compassion and
Yeah, I think most of us have a vision on it like that. And as long as we keep that vision, that will keep drawing us up that timeline too. And each one of us probably within that, we also wonder what is in our future within that, because you said we're becoming more psychic, more intuitive, we be more, maybe more inquisitive of so-called powers that be, so we can find out what they've really been hiding over the millennia, and we become more knowledgeable. And that should do away with fear. That should probably just help us to rise to a higher level of consciousness. So it's going that direction. There's nothing anybody can do to stop it. That is my opinion.
So April from the mastermind said, I think our country's astrological chart begins on July 4th, 1776, the birth of the country. That's what I heard from another Vedic astrologer. Do you have any thoughts on that, Danika?
I know that I'm not sure of the exact date, but countries do have birth charts, and a lot can be seen from them and what is going on and how it unfolds. But not just countries, also businesses. Everything has a birth chart. You know, also with readings, it's called Prashna. It's called Prashna. So a question that somebody may have, a birth chart can be cast at the moment the question was birthed, and an answer can be through the birth chart.
Wow.
Yes. So the
Wow.
timing of a situation can be read if a chart is cast at that moment of the asker's question.
The askers, I like that. I like
Yeah,
that.
I suppose the country have a birth chart too. That makes sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Watchers Talk, hello, said the yuga cycles are like the Western zodiac cycles.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
Just trying to see if I can pull out any
Yes.
good stuff here. Aw. Really
So
good.
I believe like drop yug is the next one.
Uh-huh.
And it's like more like Pisces energy,
Mm.
according to the Vedic system. It's more Pisces type energy, but I do believe that we also have very much Aquarius energy going on.
No doubt.
Right now.
No doubt. Yeah. So,
but yes, go ahead.
I think even though you haven't charged yet, right? If I could see the future, I would see that you're going to be really successful. You're going to figure out your numbers and you're going to be really successful because it's not only your knowledge, but the little bits that came out about you tonight, about your integrity and your ethics and your spiritual beliefs and you wanting to make, a lifelong relationship with people. I mean, those are not qualities that are always in one amazing, beautiful, lovely person like you. So I can't help but think that you're going to be incredibly successful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome.
I'm actually in the process of booking my first readings. I got to get back to them, but yeah, it's time. And yeah, I feel like I'm full of valuable nuggets of information.
You are.
I think that, once I get the numbers right and the different readings that I offer, that'll be a lot more easy to zero in on what it is, once they can choose what it is they want to know about. I can just pull that divisional chart,
What are the different readings? Like a life reading, a business reading? What are the choices that you could make?
Well, we could do relationships. Everyone wants to know about relationships, right?
Absolutely.
Well, women, yes, women do. Men want to know where their money's going to come from, right?
Funny.
Yes, we can do like education. There's an education chart. There's a property, like when someone will acquire assets or property, games, career, spirituality, partnerships, all that. Yeah, it's all here.
Lovely. It's lovely.
Yeah,
really good.
Particularly in the spirituality chart, the D20. Yeah, divisional chart. I'm really enjoying that.
I can. That makes sense.
Yeah.
You're just
and then we
lovely.
also have we also have a chart which says it overrules the goodness in a chart will overrule the badness. So there's a good chart and a bad chart, and your ability to overcome obstacles. So that can be really too.
The goodness outweighs the badness. Is that what you said? That's wonderful.
You see difficulties, face, illnesses, accidents, things like that.
Do you notice that any one particular sign-ish or mixture of signs are more prone to like physical ailments or in bad relationships or things like that? Not doing well in business. Do they seem to show up in certain conglomerations of the signs?
Definitely. That's a really good question. Well, personally, I've experienced more so a transit than necessarily a house placement. But when Mars crosses my ascendant, so I keep track of the planets where they're at from day to day, or at least every couple days. And the last time that Mars went over my ascendant, now Mars takes about 30 days to get through a sign. The last 2 times Mars went over my ascendant, I actually had one time with a car accident, and then the next time was a 4-wheeler accident.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I wasn't really hurt, just a little sore, but
still, yeah. Wow. So, and it's for those reasons that it would be good to make a relationship with you. So I'm definitely going to follow you on IG. What are you on Facebook? How can we reach you on Facebook too?
Danika Darley.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also,
so good having you.
A debilitated Venus can give you an idea of, you know, having more difficult relationships, which is Venus in Virgo.
Interesting.
So I personally have this placement, so it's something that I know I have to stay vigilant about and continue to work on and to grow through. So
good stuff. Thank you so much for being with us. Go ahead, Augie. Take it.
What is next for you now? Are you thinking about writing any books or any activities that you want to talk about?
Well, I'm not really working on anything. I would love to write books. I think a website is going to be the next thing in line for me. But I'm just going to be a perpetual student.
You will be writing a book. I know that. There is enough in there for maybe several books. I think that's what you probably will end up doing.
And stay in touch with us, Dana, because Mac is like the guru for websites and all that stuff that you need to roll your business out. So stay in touch with us, and definitely stay in touch with Mac if it interests you. He's amazing.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And here's my favorite question again. If you could talk to the whole world and the world is listening, what would you tell them?
That's a good question. I would tell them to stand in their truth and to find out their passion and to follow it and to do what they know in their heart is right.
It's beautiful. That speaks volumes.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Follow your passion. That's what brought me to the United States, and you're exactly right.
That's awesome.
All right.
Augie, you want to take us out? Thank you so much, Danika. It was such a pleasure meeting you and talking with you.
Yeah, Danika, let's stay in touch. And when down the road, we would like to have you on again.
Definitely.
Great.
Great. Thank you, everybody. And we're now going off this time. We'll be back next week with an amazing guest. And until then...
Metaphysical Rev, I believe it was, gave us a super chat. I didn't get to say that. Sorry. Thank you, guys. Yeah. Thanks for the super chats. Go ahead, Augie. I'm sorry. I had to do that.
Goodbye.